I hate these new headphones. Not because they sound bad, not because they're uncomfortable, not because they're overpriced or overhyped. I hate them because now I don't love my biodynamics anymore. And I'll explain exactly why this happened. But first, let me take you back to the day these headphones arrived. The box showed up on my doorstep, just like any other day. Nothing special. I didn't even know what to expect. Neumann and Audio-Technica had sent me their new ATH-R70xa for review. And frankly, I wasn't excited. I've had plenty of headphones sent to me for review in the past, and most of them end up being just okay. Not bad, not amazing, just meh. But when this box arrived, I felt something different. Maybe it was the mystique of a new pair of headphones. Or maybe it was just the fact that I had no expectations for them at all. Either way, the moment I opened the box, I knew something was up. Inside, neatly packed, were the Audio-Technica ATH-R70xa headphones. The first thing that struck me, they were light. Now, I'm no stranger to headphones, but these, they felt insanely light. I didn't even have to read the specs to know these weren't going to have that solid, heavyweight feeling I was used to from my other pairs, like my biodynamics. The build quality was solid, but the design was simple. No flashy colors, no premium materials that scream luxury, just matte black, open back ear cups with a mesh grille. I remember thinking, okay, let's see if they can back up this minimalist look with some serious sound quality. The moment I put them on my head, I noticed something else. There was no pressure, not the kind of tight clamp you often feel with new headphones. No squeezing around my head, they just sat there like they were floating on my ears. It was strange, not uncomfortable, just unusual. But as much as I was intrigued by the fit, I had one question on my mind. The one question that mattered most. How did they sound? I plugged them into my audio setup and pressed play. At first, I didn't feel anything dramatically different. The sound was decent, of course, but it wasn't until I really started listening, really paying attention, that I realized something was off. It wasn't that they sounded bad, far from it in fact. They sounded almost too clean. The bass wasn't booming like I was used to, it wasn't punching me in the chest, it was tight, controlled, natural. No excessive rumble, no overdone sub-bass. It was like a clear window into the music, showing me exactly what was there, but not adding anything extra. I moved to the mid-range, and that's when things started to feel different. The vocals were crisp, but in a way that didn't feel artificial. They were present, without being pushed to the front, without getting harsh or sibilant. It was like hearing vocals as they should be, uncolored by the usual flavor that some headphones bring. Then I hit the highs, the treble, and honestly, that's where I started to feel uneasy. Normally, I'm used to treble that pops. My DT990s, they're sharp, precise, almost in your face at times. The treble is definitely forward, but the R70xa, the treble wasn't in your face at all. It wasn't harsh, it wasn't piercing, it was just there. Detailed but smooth. And it hit me. This wasn't just a new sound. This was a new way of hearing. I immediately started switching back and forth between my biodynamics and the R70xa. I needed to be sure that what I was hearing wasn't just some fluke. I grabbed my DT990s, my go-to headphones for mixing, and played the same tracks. But the moment I did, something started to feel wrong. The DT990s, which I've used for years, suddenly felt a little off. The highs were sharper than I remembered. The bass was a little more boomy than I liked. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't the sound I had gotten so used to. I went back to the R70xa and suddenly everything just felt right. This is where things got a little confusing for me. It wasn't just that the R70xa sounded different, it was that I suddenly questioned everything I knew about sound. I grabbed my DT990s, which I've always loved for gaming and casual listening, and put them on. And that's when the real panic set in. The sound that used to feel spacious now felt a little distant. The bass, which I always thought was tight and full, now felt like I had too much extra. The treble, too bright, maybe even a little harsh. So I switched again, back to the R70xa. The more I listened to it, the more I realized I wasn't hearing the music differently. The things I once thought sounded perfect now seem just a bit off. It wasn't dramatic, but the more I switched back and forth, the clearer it became. I didn't know if I was just hearing things or if the R70xa was actually showing me something I couldn't unhear. For the next few days, I kept going back and forth. I grabbed my DT990s, my DT770s, and my DT880s, and tried listening to everything, from music to gaming to music. But each time, I kept coming back to the R70xa. I couldn't explain it. The sound was just so effortless, so natural. It wasn't like other headphones, where you can clearly identify the bass, mids, and treble. They were all just blended in this perfectly balanced way. And that, honestly, messed with my head. I didn't know if I was just overthinking it or if these headphones were just that good. But one thing was for sure. I couldn't go back to my buyers the same way. So, here we are. What do I really think about these headphones? Well, they're not perfect. They don't have that aggressive, in-your-face sound that some people love. They're not going to blow your mind with deep, punchy bass or crazy treble. But they are something else entirely. They're effortlessly natural. They give you a clear, honest representation of the music you're listening to. No more, no less. And now I can't unhear that. If you're curious about the Audio-Technica ATH-R70xa, I've left a link in the description, but a fair warning. Once you hear them, you might not be able to go back either. Have you ever experienced a pair of headphones that completely changed how you listen to music? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, hit the like button, subscribe, because this took me a week to film. And I'll see you in the next one.